Hi guys. Most people don't know me. My friends and my family are aware that I watch a lot of films. I've always been into films a lot, especially since I was younger. I studied film when I was at university, film and video, and it was just mind-blowingly fun. But since leaving university, I've not really done anything else. I leave movie reviews on the app Flickster, but that's about it. So I thought I'd start putting movie reviews on my YouTube channel. So if you'd like to like and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. Today I'm going to be reviewing Blade Runner 2049, which is the new movie starring Ryan Gosling and Harrison Ford. It's directed by Denis Villeneuve, who's recently directed Arrival and before that Sicario. Both amazing films, so if you haven't seen them you should go check them out. It's a continuation on from the story that Ridley Scott directed 30 years ago in the original Blade Runner. The original Blade Runner is set in an alternative universe where humans have manufactured replicants, which are basically sent off-world to other planets to do essentially slave labour. It's a very interesting concept. I remember watching the original years ago and finding it very abstract and obscure, and not really making much sense. But upon watching it again recently, before I watched 2049, it's actually a pretty straightforward storyline. It's very of its time. When it was first released, it didn't actually do that well at the box office. It really underperformed and was pretty much a bomb. But over the years, it has obviously become such a classic. Many people watch it to this day. It's on Netflix. It's easy to get hold of, and many consider it to actually be a staple in cinema and filmmaking. I won't go too much into the story because I don't want to ruin anything for those that haven't seen it, but it picks up 30 years after the original, now following Ryan Gosling's character Kay, who at the beginning of the film, he discovers something that really drives the plot through for the rest of the film. It's safe to say that Harrison Ford returns in his role as Deckard, although, spoiler alert, he doesn't actually appear until the second half of the film, which isn't too bad of an idea really, because the story isn't so much about Deckard as it is Kay and Kay's discovery as to what he is and who he is and what he does. Now, Ryan Gosling gets a lot of stick in the past, mainly because he has that very monotone face and voice where he doesn't actually display much emotion. Sometimes that works for him in roles such as Drive, and maybe not so much in other roles, but here I think it works perfectly. You know, there's an uncovering, there's something is found out in the first 5 minutes, which is hidden pretty well from the trailers. Although it's not necessarily a spoiler, seeing as it happens in the first 5 minutes, that kind of makes you understand maybe why he is the way he is. But I think he does a fantastic job. You believe him in this role. You believe that the film picks up 30 years later. You believe everything he does as a character. The supporting characters are all really fantastic, especially Robin Bright, who plays his superior, who he has to report into. And then there's so many different other characters that really help build the story. They all seem to have their own purpose in which to drive the story forward. Which, you know, it's a long film, it's 2 hours and 45 minutes, so you kind of need that extra push and that extra involvement rather than just focusing on a small amount of people, especially in such a big world. For me, the time flew by pretty quick. It didn't feel necessarily almost 3 hours long, but it definitely didn't feel like an hour and a half. But I think that just goes down to the good editing and the good story writing, the pacing. It was fantastic. I never felt bored. I never thought that things could be cut out. Things just moved at a steady pace, and it seemed organic within the film itself to hit the beats, the story beats that it really needed to tell the story. The direction is fantastic. It really drives the film and just shows what good directing can do for a good script. I definitely believe that the direction in this film has caused it to be one of the best sci-fi films of the past decade even. It is clearly fantastic and thought-provoking, and the way the film is structured, the way it links into the previous film, the sets, the design, it looks like it has just taken place 30 years within the same world. It is absolutely astonishing. To see Ryan Gosling's Kay walk through the streets which Harrison Ford walked through 30 years ago is really astonishing. Everything looked exactly the same, albeit 30 years later. And I think it really goes to show what a fantastic director Denis Villeneuve is. If anyone has seen his previous films, then you know he likes a lot of slow shots, focusing on character faces and really letting the characters bring out the story rather than drive the story through the characters. I don't think there was any time watching Blade Runner 2049 that I felt it was a rehash of the previous film. It felt like a completely new story just tied into the original. It was definitely a continuation and building upon this world rather than just hitting character traits and story arcs that we've seen already done, even though it was 30 years previous since the last film. It's definitely up there with one of the best films I've seen this year. And it's October now, so I've seen a lot of films this year. I don't think there's anything bad I could say about the film. Everything worked really well. The story was told fantastically, it was directed amazingly, the special effects are top notch, the score, which uses influences from the original score, is just mind blowing. It really has a sense of dread, unease, you're not really sure where the story is going, but it's taking you there. It was just fantastic all around, and even at almost 3 hours long, I would happily watch it again in the cinema. And for that reason, I am actually going to score this film a 5 out of 5, which seems like a very high score, you know, a perfect score for the first film I'm reviewing. But I think I really lucked out that this was such an amazing film. Definitely one of my favourite of the years. It was just mind-blowingly awesome, really. Like I said, I'd watch it again quite soon actually. It wasn't long ago that I watched the previous film, and having that fresh in my mind, it really just kind of solidified how fantastic this sequel is. It's even on par, if not slightly better than the original, maybe because of the advances in technology, better script writing, but it is just basically one of the best sci-fi films that has been made in recent years, and I urge everyone to go watch it. If you liked listening to me mumbling on about films, not really knowing what I'm talking about, and then give me a like, a thumbs up, or whatever it is you do on here, and subscribe, follow me, and then you can see when I release more videos on movies that have been released.